we got a stream here? We have. Okay, let's play a game. Now we can start off with the e4, I guess. Varan king. Plays the Sicilian with knight f6, and then d6. So this move order allows the Maroczy bind. Didn't play knight to f6, he played knight to c6 instead. So, but he's going with a quick fianchetto of the bishop, so it's become a dragon variation, I guess. This is one of those lines that's a little bit tricky. There's always this idea of a discovered knight move here, but I think it's not working yet because this is adequately defended. It's when the queen comes out you have to worry about it. And in this position, if the queen comes out, I can just move my knight. So let's castle. Yeah, I need to defend the pawn. Knight was attacking the pawn there. Then we castle. Had suddenly two attackers on it, so you have to have a ready defense. The bishop is not enough. But this knight seems relatively secure now. And I can put another knight up there. I need to move my rook off the diagonal. And hello, stream. Okay, we got yeah. Let's move the rook. We have a pretty nice Maroczy bind setup. Pretty classic. And Varan, I'm not sure what Varan is thinking about. He's got a pretty typical setup too, although it was a little bit slow. Okay, he was wondering if he could play that move. I think he can't play that. So I have the typical Maroczy tactic of knight here, which puts his queen under fire. He takes the queen. I take this pawn with check. The king has to go this way. So my knight's not under fire and can escape. So yeah, it's a standard tactic in the Maroczy bind. His queen can go back. So this wins a pawn. Okay, he chose to move his rook. Where does this knight want to go? Back here, I guess. Yeah, let's go here before it gets uncomfortable where it is. You know, I have another loose knight. I have two loose knights. Let's defend this knight first. I think he has a discovered attack with his bishop, but it can't take anything. So I think it's safe to defend my knight first and then bring my other knight back. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. Just getting started. This is my first game. Whew. We'll see. He's looking for some discovered attack with the bishop, but where can it go? Just to places which are attacking pawns. It doesn't look like he can actually attack any piece. So he goes there. Yeah, so let's retreat the knight now. I can take this way or that way. Let's take this way. Yeah, it appears he wants to play b4, b5 rather. If he plays b5, I take, he takes. It's under fire. Well, he's got to first deal with his rook. And then he can take, yeah, it's well defended. It is well defended. I will grant him that. It's attacked twice and defended twice. But you know what I can do after he takes back? I can bring my rook to this square, right? He can't push the pawn. Oh no, the bishop is defended. He could push the pawn. So I think, let's see, if I play a4, the bishop will, or the pawn will take. Could put the knight here. And trying to avoid a situation where he has one pawn that holds back two. That's a way for him to neutralize my pawn advantage. So if he takes, I'll take with the pawn, and then the bishop goes back, and then I can play something like a4 to force an exchange or a passed pawn. Oh, he does that. This, my knight is not pinned. My bishop is defending my rook. So I could have moved the knight, but taking the pawn seemed like more to the point. Now I can play a4, support the bishop. Looks good. If the king ever goes here, I have a knight here, check. And fork. What's he thinking about? He's got 25 seconds. That clock is ticking down. Maybe he's just going to give up. No, he's playing on. Okay, so I think I want to play a4 immediately. I don't like leaving undefended pieces around. Ah, the king went to that side. I have the idea of kicking that knight, so I want to take away its squares. Okay, so we just start marching pawns. Let's see, I could do this now. Let's see where he puts his rook. Yeah, he ran out of time. It's getting tricky. If he put his rook here, I would just put my rook here, pinning and trading the rooks. And I should win with the extra pawns. We have same colored bishops. If he moved his rook to the side, then or either way, I take this pawn. I don't think this is a big threat here. King just steps up. So it looks like a pretty good win. Let's see, what was the score at the end? What's the estimate? It says +8. Okay. Yeah, let's go back and play another game. Well, I'm in recovery mode once again. I had a rough patch during the week. So we're starting with e4, e5, but we will move on to other openings. A bishop's opening. A Vienna game. Okay, so you do the bishop first and then the knight. See, normally you counter f4 with e5, but with the bishop there, it's hard to do. I'm going to play something different. I'm going to try getting pressure on this pawn with my bishop and knight. Ah, I didn't expect that. He put the knight there. So now, actually, he could have played the fried liver attack, put the knight there. Okay, so now we got 2 pieces on this and 2 defenders as well. But we can also push the d pawn. The bishop supports the push of the d-pawn. Now, what do I want to do with this knight? Maybe here? Keep the bishop's diagonal open. So anyway, I got away with something in that opening. He had a chance to destroy me. Ooh. He wants to take the dark squared bishop, I guess. Or not. Okay, still 2 attackers, 2 defenders. Pushing here, how about? Pawn takes, knight takes, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes. He's got 1 extra piece. Okay, let's connect my rooks. Now the f4. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a good or great. I don't have a great square for that knight. But you know, one thing is his rook has moved away from the f file. So this could actually take here and then take his knight. And then my knight defends here. Maybe that works. Maybe I lose it at the end. I think I need to get a rook here first. Oh. just take that. Okay, let's block that. Now I don't have to worry about blocking in a bishop. I think he was trying to get some sort of attack here with the rook and the knight. You know, he just needs to get rid of this pawn. But as I was saying, if I take here, oh yeah, I need the rook here first. I have a weakness on this pawn. If he takes this knight, oh, he moved the queen away. Okay. Let's defend that bishop with the rook. And so now his rook went there, huh? Yeah, so I wanted to take this pawn and then take the knight, but he can take back with the queen. How about if I had the bishop down here? Then he couldn't take with the queen. In fact, this is just under fire, strictly under fire, and his knight is hanging after I take that pawn. So the knight leaves, oh, and defends that pawn. Okay, so I can play this, but then I can play that, but my queen gets pinned. So if there was an exchange here and I ended up, after the pawns get exchanged with the knight there, then he could play this move and pin the thing against the knight against my rook. The knight had no moves with check or anything. What have we got here? So I think I can play this now. If he takes, I take, he takes, I take, he takes. I mean, the pawn is loose at the end on C2. So I go here, he takes, I take, he takes, I take, rook takes, queen takes, and then I can take on C2. Or he can just push his pawn too. But that'll give me some more ideas. So he decided to take. Yeah, he has to take with the bishop now if he wants to win that pawn. Maybe he can win it some other way. That way, I wanted to move that rook to here. I mean, that knight. I wanted to move it to here. I can move the knight here, hit his queen. Yeah, I thought he would do that. He would try pinning the knight. But this is, I think, a good answer. So now I can move the knight with check, but he takes it with the queen. I can move the knight here, and then the queen moves. Where's the best square for the knight? How about here? Just get rid of that pesky bishop before it takes my knight here and leaves me with a destroyed kingside. So yeah, he declined my very polite offer to take this pawn and give me this pawn. It would have been much better. So now I can go here with the knight. Oh, let's take the rook, or the, I take here, he can't put his rook here. I can take with the knight. Like I said, I can take with the knight. All right. Yeah, you could tell he was thinking, but he wasn't quite spotting all the defenses. But he did spot my idea here. Let me show you what I was thinking. If we back up a little bit. So when I pushed that pawn and he took, my idea was he takes, I take, he takes with a bishop. He didn't want to give up that bishop maybe. I take. It looks like he's winning a pawn, but he has to take with the rook here, and this pawn is hanging. I think I can either trade once more or I can directly take here. And what is this? It's about even, slightly better for black. It wants me to take here. Queen takes, then what? Oh, and then take the bishop. I didn't see that. That was even better. Winning a bishop is better than winning a pawn. Interesting. Yeah, so it likes my position. Let's go play another game. Well, a good start. We've got 2 wins. Switch to d4. Okay, we've got a Slav defense. A triangle formation. So it could be the Moran variation, but he's not in any hurry, it seems, to take this pawn. So if he goes long enough, maybe this is a good point. If he doesn't take this pawn, then I can play b3. He does have the bishop here, but then I can just move the knight. It's not pinned. Yeah, he's very unconcerned. Totally unconcerned. So we got a full-on max tension in the center. I could play e4 here. He takes, I take, he takes, I take. Then he brings the knight here. Jump back. I'd rather find some way to get rid of this knight here. So let's take this way. Starting to open up this diagonal. Now put the queen, or the bishop, put the bishop back here. So the queen can go here with a battery. But I need to, like I said, destroy this knight somehow. Something like that. From this square, the knight can also go to this square. He may be able to trade queens here. Oh, he wants to take my knight. You know, it's a funny move, but I could actually go here. If he retreats his bishop, I'll take this knight and then mate. But I don't know, it's good just to take the bishop, isn't it? Okay, I think I want to get my rook out of prison there. Knight could go here. Yeah, if I put the knight here now, he takes. I take the bishop with check. So he's gonna defend the bishop. Then I can win a pawn over here. Or not. Actually, I can't. I go here. He has to take back with the pawn, but I can't take with the queen because he's got this guy under fire. Well, I can take. And then just retreat my knight. Should I give the check first? But as soon as I give the check, his king is going here. Let's see if there were a way to block this pawn. I could take here with my bishop and then check with my queen here and here. It's one of those positions, it seems like there ought to be something, but I don't quite see it. Yeah, let's just get the knight out of trouble. This diagonal can be blocked by his pawn. So I can threaten mate, or I can check. He can block. Do I have enough? So I check here. No, I play the queen here. He pushes up. I take. He takes. I take, hitting the queen and threatening there. Maybe this is enough now. Just threaten the checkmate. I don't see any other defense besides pushing the pawn. And I can take. I know it's pinned against my rook, but the knight can move with check, and then there's a mate here. And this one, it threatens mate and it threatens the queen. So queen is better than a rook. Okay, so I've got queen and rook versus two rooks and a knight. And his knight has to move. So let's go ahead and take there. I have to be careful about my back rank here. But I also have extra pawns, so... Defending my rook. Putting a little pressure on the knight. I think I'm going to play a pawn move here just to give myself some space. If I get my rook to this square, that's pretty fatal too. So I'm pushing this pawn so that I can lift the rook to here and then swing across to here. Notice the queen is guarding these squares. So yeah, he's... oh, he didn't set up a battery. He did something else. Now he's setting up a battery. Okay, check where? Check here. Maybe I shouldn't have let him take there, huh? Yeah, you saw the saw this is guarded by his knight. This square is guarded by his knight too. That knight is a pretty good piece because I want to put a rook here to get rid of these guys. There we go. I'm winning this. I'm winning this, and with that, I'm winning the game because I have more pawns. So that's a way to win. Look at my time, 9 seconds. Better move quickly. What an idiot. I'm talking about myself now. Okay, timing is very important here. When he steps in front of the pawn, I push my pawn. Then he steps out. Well, I had to play quick moves. I was low on time. But now I have a clear path to winning. And more time, too. That was exciting. Yeah, I shouldn't have bothered pushing that pawn. I should have started walking with my king at this point, because then he has to take. I get that pawn first. That's a much easier win. Although, well, you know, it came out okay in the end. Here we go. Teufel, 78. Let's see, I did e4, e5 last time. Let's do a Sicilian. Always a tough move, these Sicilians. Oh, was he thinking about taking it with the queen? No, doing the normal stuff. Yeah, you bring this knight out first normally to attack the pawn, which he defended, not with a knight. So this leaves him the option of doing a Maraxi bind, but it does weaken the king side early. Let's have a check here. I don't know what to do. It feels like there ought to be a refutation here, but I'm not really sure what it is. Check. Oh, he brings his knight out. And the bishop is already protected anyway. I was just seeing this fork. But it doesn't work. The bishop's protected, and plus he also has this knight move. Two ways to defend, even. Okay. I don't especially want to trade bishops, so I'll take with the pawn. Now a check. Well, he'll bring his knight out anyway, huh? Okay, let's go for the dragon setup then. You know what he could do is he could push the e-pawn. And that might be troublesome. I would actually have to move the knight, I think. And then he could win a pawn here. But he's not doing that, so that's all good. Let's step aside with the queen. Now I can take it. Wants to go there. Okay, so let's push these pawns forward. I want to get in d5. I'm not sure where that knight is going. I mean, I can take it here even if this were exposed because the knight's defending. I guess there's some tactic here. I can't take it here. His knight is, the knight can go here. Ah, but he puts the bishop there. Aha. Okay, I want to put my queen somewhere where the knight can't move with an attack. But I don't have a place like that, do I? Yeah, looks like he won the exchange there. He didn't take it, though. That's weird. Is he getting some kind of attack on my pieces? Yeah, he had an advantage there. Now I don't know if he has one. That's what I was waiting for. Yeah, I wanted that exchange. Now move the knight. Really? Ah, because the his bishop is still hitting this rook. Let's see, so if I take the rook, he can move the knight with check. I mean, I take the bishop. He can move the knight with check, but that loses the knight. I think this is two pieces for a rook and a pawn. Ah, he says he has somewhere to go with the bishop, or with the knight. Huh, yeah, that's true. He can go here again. Yeah, good calculation there. Yes, to save the knight now, I guess. Can go here or back there, yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, I can move this knight. If only I could move it with tempo. But I don't see an opportunity to do that, so let's just trade off that bishop. He could defend the bishop with the queen, I guess. But that's what he does instead. Now, where does the knight go? The knight here, 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 here. Maybe the knight is trapped here, 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 here. Maybe I get that second piece after all. So, yeah, let's just take it. And then he can play a pawn up here, taking advantage of this pen here. Okay, so he goes there. Let's kick the queen. And also close this diagonal. There is a check here. So he has to keep the queen on that diagonal, huh? Anyway, getting the bishop out of the line of fire of his rook. And he's going to try and take advantage of the rook situation, huh? And my bishop is defended. That pawn is defended too. Let's do that. Let's take advantage of this pen. Oh. Check here. King goes there. Check here. Yeah, I saw that too. He wants to, I was going to put a rook here. Maybe that would work. Maybe just taking here works, though. Threatening mate. Still threatening mate. Ah, that's his solution. So we get a classic two pieces versus a rook endgame. He's got a lot of pawns. So I'm going to activate my king here. Really? You can resign now. Is he low on time? Okay, let's get rid of this pawn. And what? Knight here. I see. He's trying to get a what do they call that? A knight versus bishop and knight versus king endgame. But I've got a pawn. I managed to survive with one pawn here. I don't know why I'm keeping the bishop. I just want it. Okay. You can give up now. And he did. All right, nice game. Let's go again. Okay, D4. So I'm playing my anti-London system opening. Oh, he didn't do the London system. Okay. No sooner do I develop an anti-London system opening than people stop playing it. Okay, and the Samish variation. Yeah, plays that pawn there. So I don't really have a great line against the Samish. If I go there, he pushes, I take, he takes, I take, he takes. So let's push this pawn first. Basically, I want to have a pawn in place so that this this goes forward with an attack on the knight, but I don't want it to go forward one more square and cramp my position. So I push that pawn first. And thank you for the follow, hotter than Hotmail. Yeah. And then I'm going to play e5. If he kicks first, I'll exchange and then bring my knight to this square. Will I exchange? Maybe I bring my knight to this square and keep the option open of pushing or exchanging. If he takes, I can take back with the bishop. That's a key point here. And it leaves him with isolated pawns, leaves me with a backwards pawn. So compensating weaknesses. He says he can win that pawn right away. Well, I can defend it with a knight. Let's get castled. I could also get my queen out here. Oh, well, this is fine. You think I'm so worried about the queen exchange? Now I've got one pawn holding back two over here. And his pawns are still weak. He's got to take this pawn, doesn't he? Does he not have to take that? Yeah. So I thought. So I'm going to bring my rook over and castle by hand, I guess. I need to protect this pawn so that the knight can move. That's my plan. Although I guess when my king moves away, this okay, well I can just take here right away then. His knight can't move with check. Okay, we're going to stop the castling. Stop the knight from coming here. Pressure on the pawn. Double the rooks. Ah, that's clever. So he wants to inflict some sort of pawn damage here at any cost, it looks like. Do I have a good move here? Take the pawn, he takes the rook, I take back. I'm down the exchange for a couple of pawns. His king is still in the middle, so is mine. But I don't see any clever tactic, so let's just prepare to double rooks. Okay, so let's hit that knight. Now this knight can move without trouble. I'm hitting the knight and the pawn. This pawn is weak, so it might fall at any moment. But if I can get rid of this pawn, then I can push this pawn forward. We'll no longer be backwards. He left his knight hanging. Isn't that more serious than... allowing his rook entry. Okay, yeah, he just didn't see that. Hello, Agrotinus. Welcome to the stream. Doing good. Having a good streak here. Okay, time for the English. Yeah, I start off at 1724 or something. Made my way up. I had a bad week, so it was working my way back up towards where my rating normally is. So now if I push my pawn, he gets the bishop on the diagonal first. So we'll do it this way. He can take the bishop, the knight. No, he didn't. He could take the knight, and then I would take back with a pawn and have doubled pawns here, but it would be a pretty solid king setup. Okay, so now I can move the knight with tempo because his bishop is loose, but I don't have any great things to attack, do I? And I'm not playing the Botvinnik system because that's just out of the picture now. Let's see, he's got a Queen's Indian. I could just play into the Queen's Indian, just put my pawn on d4. Yeah, that's typical, isn't it? Now, if I push my pawn, he was just going to take it. I could leave it there. I could try and activate my bishop. Okay, so should we force this issue here? He's going to take my, yeah, he's going to take it. But I get an open F file here. I'm going to put my king on this square because the bishop could easily get distracted and this becomes undefended. I have to worry about this pawn for the moment, but how is he going to attack it? I don't see. And this pawn is pretty secure now. He's going to attack it with the dark squared bishop. That makes sense. So let's defend with the queen. I need to keep his light squared bishop out of this square anyway. I still want to get my king up here. But I need to find time to do it. You know, I could also push this pawn, but that opens up this diagonal towards my king. What? Yeah, so he puts the queen there, attacking my weak pawn. There we go. Okay, yeah, now he puts pressure on this pawn here. So, but he's blocked his bishop, so I could push. Where's the knight going? The knight might go here. Let's take that square away from the knight. I was just thinking, you know, push this pawn and then push this pawn to defend it. Might be an idea. His how long has his bishop been hanging? He takes there. I take back. He goes there with the queen. I go there. Right there. Let's move 10. Move 10. He put the knight there. Okay. It's not. It's defended. I could have taken it. Instead, I defended with the queen, and he moved this knight out. Knight c6. Then what? Bishop g5. It's the lines are jumping. Anyway, when he moved his queen, he left this undefended. Okay, and he just moved his knight. So let's take his loose bishop. How about? Threatened mate. Yeah, I think after the game I'll look at that sequence. That was pretty scary. Okay, let's get rid of this bishop. Let's see. I could just take this. He takes. I take back. It's not quite mate. I could push this pawn. I don't know. I should push this pawn, and then when the knight moves, I mate him. But he has a check. What am I going to do about the check? The check is a bit annoying. Let's do this one. Oh, he can take here. He can take there. What I'm doing is blocking this dark squared diagonal. So that if the knight goes back here, then I can play. So he saves it that way. Okay, well, I could do the knight here. Maybe this way. Now let's kick this knight away. What's he going to go here? Here, here, here. I take it. So he just goes back. Then I play this one up. Or maybe I put my queen here. Seems like an important diagonal. And if he trades queens, I am just a piece up, I guess. He did trade queens. Okay. Well, I did make a mess of my pawn structure, so maybe he's got some compensation. But I can put knights in here, take there, push this pawn forward. He got another pawn. He's good at this. Snagging pawns. Well, I'm just being sloppy now. I had a good run and then I got sloppy. I went back there instead of grabbing another pawn. See how that's what I mean by sloppy, doing stuff like that. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like it at all. Because he has the check here. This pawn is hanging. This pawn is hanging. It's all bad. Okay, let's kick his knight away at least. Let's oppose rooks. Supposin' I opposin'. Had to move the rook because his knight was hitting it. Oh, so he wants to trade. Let's see. I am interested in this pawn. Still interested in this pawn. And this pawn. So 3 versus 3. And 3 versus 3. So I did manage to even it up in spite of all the pawns he grabbed. If he goes here, it's checkmate. Let's go to the analysis board. Is this checkmate in any case? The king goes here. Rook goes there is checkmate. Right? This is defended. So he has to go back. This is not checkmate, is it? Maybe it is. Check here. Ah, it is checkmate. Checkmate. Yeah, 2 moves. It was a 3-move checkmate or a 2-move checkmate. Oof. All right. Yeah, those knights and rooks around the king are dangerous.